It's a great time to be a PlayStation 5 owner. After 3 years, it's finally been jailbroken. I'll show you everything that it takes step by step to jailbreak your own PlayStation 5 in just a matter of minutes. Fire up your PS5 and your PC because you're about to learn something new. For the jailbreak to work, you'll need a PlayStation 5 on official firmware between 3.00 and 4.51. In addition, you'll also need a USB drive formatted in either FAT32 or exFAT format. What's amazing about this process is there's only one single thing that you need to download, and it's linked for you in the video description. It's used to install a web browser directly onto your PlayStation 5's home screen. Click on the large blue button on the right side of the screen to get the latest version of the package file downloaded to your computer. From your Windows desktop, right-click on the File Explorer icon, and then select Downloads to open the Downloads folder. From here, I'm going to drag the File Explorer window for downloads over to the left side of the screen and snap it into place. Insert your USB drive that's formatted in either FAT32 or exFAT format into your computer. Once the File Explorer window pops out, I'm going to drag that window and just snap it into place on the right side of the screen. Now all you have to do is grab the package file and drag and drop it right onto the root of your USB storage. That's everything you have to do with your PC. You can transition over to your PS5 for the remainder of the guide. As we get started on the PS5 side of the house, it's worth noting, I have this PS5 specifically disconnected from the internet. Before we start making changes to settings, I want to make sure that the system does not attempt to update the official system software. I even went so far as to remove the Ethernet cable right out of the back of the PS5. Since most PS5s are already connected to the internet, let's start from that point. Go up to the top navigation ribbon on the PS5 user interface, then scroll over to the right side to Settings. Press X on the DualSense Controller to launch Settings. From inside Settings, make sure the highlight bar is on Network and select it with X. Settings inside Settings for the win. From the left navigation inside Network, use the D-pad to scroll down to Settings and select Settings with X. The first menu option on the right says Connect to the Internet. If you have this turned on, press the X button to temporarily turn this off. Now that the internet's turned off, press the circle button several times until you get back to the Settings main menu. Next up, use the D-pad to move the highlight down until you get to System and select System with the X button. From the System main menu, use the D-pad to move the highlight over to the right side to System Software Update and Settings, then select it with the X button. There are two things here that can wreck your jailbreakable PlayStation 5. The first is automatic downloads of updates, and the second one is automatic installation of downloaded updates. Highlight both of these with the D-pad and turn both of them off with the X button. As you'll see in a moment, this isn't the end-all for preventing official system software updates, but it's a great starting point. Once you have both of these turned off, press the circle button to go back in the navigation back to the System menu. Then press circle 2 more times until you get back to the main menu of Settings. Okay, let's go ahead and connect this machine back to the internet. Go back over to Network with the D-pad and then select Network with the X button. Next up, scroll down to Settings and then scroll over to the right to connect to the internet. Press the X button to turn this option back on. For this next step, I'm going to plug the Ethernet cable back in and then come down and set up a brand new wired internet connection. So I'll come down to it with the D-pad and select it with the X button. You absolutely can set up a wireless connection here, but in this case, I'll just select Set up a wired LAN with the X button to move forward. You'll be presented with two options. You can either set things up automatically or you can go into Advanced Settings. You'll need to go into Advanced Settings to proceed forward. Slide over to Advanced Settings with the D-pad and select it with X. In the Advanced Settings menu, if you scroll down to about the middle of the screen, you'll see a setting here that says DNS Settings. This is typically set to automatic by default. You'll need to change this to manual. Scroll down to it with the D-pad, select it with the X button, and from the list of choices, select manual by coming down to it with the D-pad and selecting it with X. Scroll down to the newly revealed listing for primary DNS and select it with the X button. You'll see a number pad appear and you'll need to enter one of two specific DNS addresses here. The first one is 192.241.221.79. Then come down to Done with the highlight and select it with X. Alternately, you can also enter the following address: 165.227.83.145. Once again, come down to Done with the D-pad and select it with X to continue. No matter which of the two DNS addresses you used, you'll need to come down to OK in the bottom right corner with the D-pad and select it with X to continue. It will test the connection, and if it's successful, you'll be notified on screen. One of the great benefits of going this way is it also blocks updates to Sony servers. This means no more automatic updates, which is a good thing. However, in this case, it didn't work. See, here's the deal. Your internet service provider may block DNSs that you set up manually. If that's the case and you get this message, here's the workaround. The easiest thing for me to do here is just delete this wired connection and create a brand new one with all automatic settings. To do this, press the Options button on the DualSense controller, scroll down to Delete, select it with X, scroll to OK, and select OK to delete the old connection. Then you can go right back into Set up a new connection, select Connect from the list of choices, give the system a moment to test the connection, and you'll be good to go. No matter whether the DNS connection settings worked or that you need to go through the alternate connection process, the next step is to go to the user's guide. Press the circle button until you're taken all the way back to the main menu of settings. Right up at the top of the settings menu, you'll see the listing for user's guide. Scroll up to it with the D-pad and select user's guide with the X button. Then inside the user's guide menu, scroll over to the right with the D-pad and select User's Guide with the X button to launch the User's Guide. If the DNS settings method worked for you, you'll see this website appear. Once you pull the left trigger on the DualSense controller twice, it's going to open up what's called a URL redirector. From here, enter in the website es7in1.site. That's es7in1.site. You'll be taken to this website so that you can activate the jailbreak process. However, if the DNS settings did not work, here's what you do. The goal is to be able to access Google through the user's guide. This always seemed kind of daunting to me in the past, so I'm going to take a slow, methodical approach to going through the steps from the user's guide. First, from the main menu of the user's guide, use the right thumbstick on the DualSense controller to scroll down until you see these two icons on the left side of the screen. You'll see a web link here that's called playstation.com/system-software. Navigate to it with the pointer using the left thumbstick and select it with the X button. On the System Software page, use the right thumbstick to scroll down until you see a listing for a YouTube video. In the bottom right corner of the YouTube video, you'll see a YouTube logo. You'll want to navigate to that logo using the left thumbstick and select the YouTube logo with the X button on the DualSense controller. You'll see a PS5 related video start to play, and you can pause it if you like. From this YouTube page, navigate up to the top right corner with the left thumbstick to Sign In and select Sign In with the X button. Don't sign into anything here though, and remember, always protect your login information. Instead, there are two options you can choose from right underneath the sign in area. One of them says Privacy and the other says Terms. Here I'll place the pointer on Privacy and select it with the X button. This next step is certainly easy enough. There's a large Google logo in the top left corner of the screen. Navigate up to it with the left thumbstick and select it with the X button. Finally, if you come down to the bottom of this screen, you'll see a text listing with the word Google down here at the bottom of the page. Navigate to it with the pointer and select it with X. And sure enough, you will straight up be on the Google website in a browser on your PS5. Let's search for the jailbreak website inside the Google search engine. To do this, use the left thumbstick to move the pointer up to the search bar and select it with X. This pulls up the virtual on-screen keyboard. At the time of this recording, the best web host for PS5 jailbreaking is es7in1.site. So that's letter E, letter S, the number 7, the letter I, the letter N, the number 1.site. Enter that web address into the Google search bar along with a space and PS5. Then select Done to view the search results. You'll probably see two different listings for 𝐘𝐈𝐒𝐂 here. The first one says PS4 9.00, but if you take a closer look here, you'll see there's also a version listed here that says 𝐘𝐈𝐒𝐂 7-in-1 PS5. Navigate to that link and select it with the X button to launch the website. Finally, we're at the jailbreak website. So it doesn't matter whether you came in using the DNS settings and launching the user's guide, or launching the user's guide to navigate to Google, this is the end result either way. From here, all you have to do is choose the exploit of your choice. In this case, I'm using the one in the top left corner by Spectre. Navigate to the jailbreak of your choice and then select it with the X button. Just like with PS4 jailbreaking, which is also what's called non-persistent, you might see these out-of-memory error messages. No worries, just press the X button to clear them if you see them. What you're looking for is the browser to return a message that says, ready. If you're ready to jailbreak your system, select OK with the X button. Give your system some time to get the ball rolling and you'll see some messages populate on the left side of the screen. What you're looking for in this series of text is a message that says ELF Loader. If you see ELF Loader at the bottom of the messages, you should be good to go. Let's take a moment to verify this. Remember, you're still inside the user's guide on your PlayStation 5. Press the circle button to go back one level to go back to the user's guide main menu. Continue to press circle until you're back at the settings main menu. From the settings main menu, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll now see a listing called debug settings. If you see this menu item, your system is now jailbroken and you can install the package file that you copied over to the USB drive earlier in the video. Go ahead and remove the USB drive from your computer and insert it into an open USB port on your PlayStation 5. From the settings main menu, select debug settings with the X button. From the debug settings menu, select game with the X button. You'll probably see an error message. This is an expected behavior. Just select OK with the X button. The first listing you'll see is called the Package Downloader and the second listing is called the Package Installer. Navigate down to Package Installer with the D-pad and select it with X. You should see your Internet Browser package file shown here. Select it with X to install it to your system. With the web browser now installed, you can press the circle button several times until you get all the way back to the PlayStation 5 main menu. It's really awesome because now you can access the web browser directly from the main menu of your PlayStation 5, no jailbreak needed. Let's put this to the test. Go ahead and remove the USB drive from your PlayStation 5. Okay, slow your roll for just a minute. I want to point out something important here so that you don't accidentally update your system software. Press the PlayStation button to pull up the control center and then select power. Then from the menu choices, select turn off PS5. Here's the deal, there's actually a menu choice here that says update and turn off. If you do this, it's going to automatically update to whatever latest firmware you've downloaded to the system and no more jailbreakable PS5. If the DNS settings work correctly, you probably won't see this, but if you had to go through the user guide and go through Google, you'll likely see this every single time, so you need to be very careful that you don't accidentally update your PS5. Alright, with all of that in mind, go ahead and turn the system back on and log in. In this case, I have a user account here called Subscribe, so you don't forget to subscribe to the channel. When the main menu of the PlayStation 5 appears, you'll have access to the web browser. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to Internet Browser and select it with X. And sure enough, now we've got web browser access right from the home page of the PS5. You see, now you can use this web browser instead of all of those other steps, including the user's guide, to log directly onto es7and1.site or any other website of your choosing. Enter the web address, slide over to Go on the right side, select it with X, and instant website. But that's not all. Here's a bonus tip. You can even bookmark this page or any other page to stop from having to type it in every time you access the browser. Check this out. From the address entry bar on the Internet Browser, on the left side of the screen is a listing of your favorites, and on the right side of the screen is a listing of the history of the website you visited. If you want to add one of these as a favorite, just select the Add button next to it. You'll see a confirmation message on screen. Select OK with the X button to continue. You'll now see that the site that you previously visited is now listed as one of your favorites on the left side of the screen. Hey, did you know there's a lot more PlayStation modding you can do? Check this out. I've picked out another great PlayStation video shown on screen and linked in the description and pinned comment to help you level up your setup. I'll see you over there.